Jamie breaks silence. Here's what really happened with the $20 million deal. For years, only half the story was known, until now. When Dakota Johnson publicly revealed the existence of the secret $20 million trilogy agreement, the world reeled. Fans were stunned, journalists scrambled, and Hollywood execs whispered like wildfire behind closed doors. Dakota's truth was emotional, raw, and shocking, but it was only one side of the battlefield. For 10 long years, Jamie Dornan carried the other half, silently, privately, respectfully. But silence has an expiration date. 2 weeks after Dakota's bombshell interview crashed social media platforms, Jamie Dornan finally sat down to speak, not to defend himself, not to contradict her, but to complete the story. And what he revealed shook the narrative even deeper. The interview begins, a calm face, a storm behind the eyes. Jamie's interview was shorter, less theatrical, less explosive, but more surgical. He didn't walk into the studio, he walked into history. No applause. No anticipation music. Just a chair, a still room, and a man who had come to tell the truth. The first question came fast. Jamie, did the $20 million agreement happen the way Dakota described it? Jamie exhaled, slow, steady, then nodded. Yes. But there's a part she didn't know. The studio froze. Every viewer leaned closer to their screens. This wasn't a contradiction. This was a revelation. The money was real, but the pressure was worse. Jamie confirmed everything Dakota said, the bonus, the contract, the clause that locked them into 3 films whether they emotionally survived or not. But then he added the part no one expected. Dakota thought the hardest part was the movies. But the contract wasn't for the films. Not fully. It was for surviving the world that came with them. The bonus wasn't payment. It was compensation, for intrusion, invasion, obsession. People think we got rich for acting. We got rich for being hunted. Paparazzi, gossip forums, relationship rumors, fanfic that blurred into reality. The deal wasn't about cinema, it was about endurance. Dakota told the pain. Jamie now told the cost. The promise she remembered, but not the moment before it. When Dakota described the promise Jamie made before signing, fans melted. But Jamie revealed the moment before that nobody knew. Dakota was scared to sign. But I was terrified. Not terrified of the scenes. Not terrified of the nudity. Terrified that fame would swallow them both, and leave nothing of who they once were. Then he admitted the sentence he never expected to say publicly. I didn't promise because I was brave. I promised because I was afraid to watch her do it alone. He didn't stay for Dakota. He stayed because Dakota stayed for him, too. It wasn't romance. It was 2 humans grabbing each other's hands in a storm. The night he almost took the $10 million and walked away. When Dakota said she nearly quit before the 3rd film, the internet erupted. But Jamie now added his missing half. She almost left. And I almost left before her. He detailed the moment. Hotel room in Vancouver. Script pages scattered. Flight booked but not boarded. $10 million waiting to be claimed if he broke contract. He was this close to walking away and disappearing into anonymity forever. Then came the part that silenced the studio. I didn't stay because of the money. I stayed because if she was going to fall, I wanted to fall beside her, not watch from outside. And suddenly, the world understood. They didn't endure because they were fearless. They endured because they were afraid alone. The internet shifts, the myth evolves. The moment clips hit the internet, the world's tone change. Not ships. Not fantasies. Not, Jamie and Dakota secretly loved each other. But something far more human. Hashtag they survived together. Hashtag 20 million truth. Hashtag two sides one story. Fans weren't romanticizing them anymore. They were respecting them. People began writing threads about emotional labor behind Hollywood intimacy. Psychological cost of global sexualization. The pressure of love rumors that were never real. For the first time, it didn't feel like gossip. It felt like understanding. But there was one last truth Jamie held back, until now. Near the end of the interview, the host asked the question everyone waited for. Jamie, did you ever regret not walking away? He paused. Smiled, but the kind of smile that hides scars. Every month. But not a single day. Regret came in waves. Gratitude stood like a lighthouse. Then he revealed the final shock. The $20 million was never about fame. It was a receipt, proof we paid with our sanity. And with that sentence, the world finally understood the gravity of what Dakota had exposed. It wasn't about money. It was about what they survived. Together. Dakota responds, with only 3 words. Dakota watched Jamie's interview live. She didn't post paragraphs. No public letters. No emotional speeches. Instead, she reposted the clip with a caption. Now it's whole. 2 sides. 1 truth. Finally complete. Amelia Warner speaks softly, but her words hit hardest. People waited for Amelia, the woman who lived beside the storm, to speak. And she did, just once, privately, in a quiet voice that held more wisdom than any headline. I wasn't threatened by Dakota. I was threatened by the world that wanted her to replace me. The world went still. Because for a decade, that was the silent battlefield. Amelia continued. Jamie didn't choose between us. He chose honesty, and it saved all of us. And that line alone reshaped history. The truth that will be remembered, not for scandal, but for strength. The $20 million story was never about greed. It was about the price of surviving fame. Dakota told the emotional truth. Jamie told the internal truth. Amelia told the quiet truth. Together, they formed the real story. It was never love triangles. Never secret romance. Never betrayal. It was 3 humans trying to stay themselves in a machine built to consume identity. And the promise? It was not romantic. It was human companionship under fire. Jamie broke silence not to defend, but to complete what Dakota began. And history will remember both voices. 2 halves of one impossible decade. Not as scandal, but as survival.